I really like this model because I feel like it's an accurate description of how systems evolve. I like that it's relationship centered, and it gives me hope for emergent systems that can be better than dominant systems that are in place currently. So let's start with the dominant system. The dominant system exists as a living system and it has a natural life course. There are economic and cultural forces that are keeping it in place, but it works well for some and not so well for others. And at some point, dominant systems begin to decay because it's not meeting the needs of those it's intended to serve, and it's not meeting the needs of those who work within it. So we see this for sure in the prevalence of burnout in the American healthcare system. And yet many people rely on this system for their income. And these are the stabilizers. A CEO whose income is 25 times the average income of the healthcare workers is not likely to want to do anything that would change that. We all can be, can succumb to those forces of money and greed. So pioneers or innovators, seeing that there's a better way, drop out and find new ways of doing the work. And they need to find each other. So how does HRC accelerate this emergence of a new system? Well, we want to be able to name the pioneers. We also need to connect those pioneers. So we need to name those pioneers, we need to connect them, and then we need to nourish those connections to build networks and ultimately communities of practice. And what do I mean by communities of practice? Communities of practice work together, they learn together, and they relate with each other, and they do the good work. So we name them, we connect them, we build these networks, and then we nourish them with all sorts of development. And then when those communities of practice are in it and doing the work, we illuminate that work for the outside world. The world needs to know what good work is happening so that we can build that emergent system and it becomes the system of influence. A couple other things that I want you to note on this model. Sometimes you can find people who have influence in the dominant system that want to steward an emergent system. And those can be important to involve in the process because they have influence. They may know some resources that could be helpful. We will need people who can hospice the dominant system. We want to find the good in that dominant system because there is a lot of good in our healthcare system, and create that compost that will nourish the seeds of an emergent system. And then we're going to need people who can transition folks from the dominant system to the new system of influence. Because there are people who depend on the dominant system for their income, for their livelihood, and they will need to be able to transition over to that new system. I don't know how that will happen, but I have faith that there will be members of HRC that will want to be in that space and innovate how this could happen.